medication against the odds. The golfer who collapsed at the US Open after an attack of vertigo, but recovered and is now among the leaders. Jason Day, who's ranked number 10 in the world, had to be treated at Chambers Bay Course in Washington State. We were going to hear what happened, but let's just bash straight on and talk to Louise Banks, who knows all about this. She's from the Meniere Society, a charity for people with balance disorders. I think, Louise, what shocked everybody about those pictures, that he wasn't particularly on a high building. I mean, is that a really naive thing to say, to watch him suffer from vertigo, but he wasn't high up? I mean, that's what's really mixed people about.
I mean, a lot of people think that vertigo is induced by being up high. In fact, it can be induced by a number of things, both medically and being up high. Now, I believe his agent has confirmed that he's had a diagnosis of BPPV, which is benign, meaning it's not due to a serious illness, although, as we've seen, it can be very debilitating, as we saw with Jason recently. Paroxysmal, which means it occurs in sudden bursts. Positional, meaning it can be induced by head movements. And then the V, dizziness, defined by an illusion of spinning. So for a golfer who puts his head down and to the side, can trigger an attack of this kind.
So is this essentially an inner ear problem?
Exactly. So BPPV is caused by chalk crystals that should be within the inner ear. They're usually surrounded by jelly, and it's what helps us, you and I, identify gravity and balance. Now, when you have BPPV, the crystal can become dislodged and can cause a person to suddenly either fall to the ground or to have the experience that they are spinning violently. And it can be very debilitating and very frightening, either to the person who's experiencing it or those who are watching it, as we did recently with Jason.
And is that experience similar to what many of us might have felt when we were at the top of a tall building or perhaps on a fairground ride?
Yeah, fairground or roundabout. If you imagine spinning around in a circle very fast and then stopping, that sensation that we are continuing to spin is very, very similar to what vertigo is. Yeah.
So we know Jason was treated in Washington for this. What is the treatment?
It's very limited. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not a medical expert, but because it's such a short-lived bout of vertigo, usually with BPPV, there isn't much treatment. The vertigo tends to last usually up to a minute. There isn't a cure as such, but there are certain things doctors can do to help with the symptoms.
Presumably this could be very dangerous if people are operating machinery or driving, for example.
Exactly, it can be. The problem is there is usually no warning. And people who suffer from this understand that sudden head movements can create the vertigo. So what they tend to do is avoid those head movements to try and avoid the vertigo. But again, like in playing golf, one of the key triggers is actually with your head down and turned to the side like this, which is exactly what he'd been doing shortly before he experienced the vertigo.
Louise Banks, a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you so much.